So it has actually happened. Just a few days ago, we talked about this crypto bank that was in trouble and how it had problems arising and that it could possibly collapse. It seems like that day might actually be upon us right now, as Silvergate says they're going to wind down operations, liquidate, and liquidate everything. So they're doing this on a voluntary basis. So they're voluntarily liquidating everything. I guess they just have more withdrawal requests than they have cash or assets, easily liquid assets and stuff on hand. And that's a recipe for disaster. You can see them announcing this has pretty big effects on their stock price, as it is at $3 right now, down almost 42% today, up a little bit in after hours. But if you zoom out on this, you can see for the week, down 48%, not great. The month doesn't get any better, down 80%. 3 months, down 86, and you keep zooming out, I mean, down 97% for the year. Or for a 1 year period, it's not looking good. It's definitely had rough times, from this peak here of $160 a share down to $3 after announcing, the big problems they had. They had layoffs, and now they're liquidating everything to try and get people back their money. And this has been reported in many places, obviously, them talking about them liquidating, winding down operations. Basically, like, sounds like they're shutting down and just trying to give everyone their money back, all the depositors their money back. Even Bloomberg had a thing here talking about it, how they're going down. And obviously, this is going to be a big thing for regulators. For some reason, even though Silvergate uses or like provides banking services to a lot of crypto companies, or at least they used to. For some reason, I think people are just sticking a crypto label on them and saying it's crypto's fault. When I mean, it's not really crypto's fault that they are failing. The biggest thing would be they just don't have the money on hand to support the withdrawals that are coming through right now. So this would happen at any bank, right? That's fractional reserve banking is a thing. If any bank in the world, or at least in the US, had a bank run and people all demanded all of their money back all at once, that bank would collapse. It would go bankrupt. It would fall because they don't carry the money that they have to have depositors have in there. They don't have the money. They have fractional reserve banking, allows them not to need it. So it's not like a strictly crypto thing or crypto reason why this bank is failing, but you can see here the crypto-focused bank Silvergate shutting operations and liquidating after the market meltdown. So obviously the crypto prices have come down, and that's what they're going to. If there wasn't a crypto winter, would they have collapsed? Who knows, right? But we can see here they're one of two. Silvergate has just over $11 billion in assets, compared with over $114 billion at Signature. And the bankrupt crypto exchange FTX was a major Silvergate customer. So it probably doesn't help if you have one of your major customers end up being a fraud business and collapsing. Obviously, not going to be great. But Silvergate collapsing and having problems at just a tenth of the size, less than a tenth of the size of the other crypto bank Signature, maybe spells bigger problems, right? If they were having problems, maybe this goes up. Maybe Signature starts to have problems, right? Who really knows? If there's a bank run at Signature, they could very easily meet the same fate that Silvergate has. And if we look at Signature Bank stock, I mean, it's not much better, right? For today, down pretty bad. The week, 18%, it's not better. It just continues to get worse every time you zoom out. And for the year, down 70%. So, I mean, I guess it's not 97%, right? But it is not good. So this is the other big bank. And maybe they have problems going on. Maybe they can fix them. Maybe they're not as major as Silvergate. Who knows? Time will tell. But from the stock chart, it doesn't look like it's heading in the greatest direction. But for Silvergate, they said in a statement, in light of recent industry and regulatory developments, Silvergate believes that an orderly wind down of bank operations and a voluntary liquidation of the bank is the best path forward. So maybe they think that, obviously FTX being a major customer, with them gone, and right now basically every crypto company under the sun leaving them. Coinbase left them. I think Gemini was in there. They left them. Paxos left them. Basically, everybody except like Kraken left this bank, and that has major effects on the bank, right? If you can't make money and have those relationships, it's going to affect your entire business model. I mean, that says it here. Companies like Coinbase and Galaxy Digital race to cut ties with Silvergate. So there was like it's literally every single crypto company was just cutting ties with this bank except for Kraken. And I guess now Kraken has a big problem, right? Because I think they were on the Silvergate side and weren't on good terms with Signature, the other big bank, crypto bank. So we'll see if they have to switch sides or something happens to Kraken, right? And we can see the massive problems Silvergate had. It says it's been struggling for months. In addition to laying off 40% of their workforce in January, the firm reported nearly $1 billion net loss in the fourth quarter following a rush for the exits at the end of last year that saw customer deposits plummet 68% to $3.8 billion. To cover the withdrawals, Silvergate had to sell $5.2 billion of debt securities. So obviously for Silvergate, when you have a bank run, right, you have a lot of people demanding their money back all at once. If you don't have that money because of fractional reserve banking, then you obviously can't push that money out. Usually the money is in illiquid things like maybe bonds or real estate, mortgage-backed securities, something like that, where over a longer period of time you collect an interest payment and everything goes good as long as there isn't a bank run. And in Silvergate's case, that's exactly what they had. They had the bank run, and let's just say if they held bonds, right, and they had to sell off those bonds in order to get the money to pay out the people who wanted to withdraw, they could be losing money on those bonds. If the price of that bond is going down, you could be losing money on selling that bond, which accelerates how illiquid you can get and how much money you need to take out and accelerate the collapse of the bank. What is kind of an interesting point at the end of this article is that it says investment firms Citadel and BlackRock took major stakes in Silvergate. So maybe they see them weathering the storm or coming back. I don't know why they would take positions in them if they said they're going to wind down the bank and voluntarily liquidate everything. Sounds like they're not going to be around for the long term or the future. Maybe they are. Maybe BlackRock and Citadel know more, or maybe they're simply throwing out some speculative money to see if this thing comes back. But for the TLDR, Dylan LeClaire does a pretty good job here, kind of summing it up, saying these firms saw their deposits go exponential during the post-2020 bubble. Due to 0% short-end rates, these firms went all in long-duration investments. As the bond bubble burst, these firms face massive unrealized losses. They are forced to be realized in the case of mass withdrawals, and they sell the bonds, crystallizing losses, and a reflexive panic for equity holders and depositors ensues. So it's kind of like a snowball, just keeps going forward, right? You have people wanting their money back, maybe a small group of people demanding withdrawals, forces you to sell bonds at a loss that loses your money. You're losing money, obviously, not a good thing. More people come demand withdrawals. You got to sell more at a loss, and that snowballs into you losing tons of money trying to pay out withdrawals. And at some point, you just can't do it, and you got to just shut it down. But ultimately, I think a lot of people saw this coming. A lot of people saw them struggling just even a couple weeks ago. And even, if you go back months ago, there's people talking about Silvergate and the problems going on there. So it's not like it came out of nowhere, but it definitely doesn't have a only crypto theme to it, right? They're a crypto bank. They provide banking to crypto companies. But for what I think or what I know, they're not like in crypto. They don't hold these cryptocurrencies and do this stuff. So I don't think you can just blame crypto and say, see, this crypto blows up the banks. When if this happened at any bank, it would result in the same thing. If everybody came and did a bank run on JP Morgan would not be able to pay out everyone's money because they simply don't have it. But I guess we just wait and see what happens in this whole space. We've seen the FTXs, Voyagers, Celsiuses go under. Now we're seeing banks as part of the system go under. So who knows who's next? Are we going to see Signature go under? Are we going to see a major company, major exchange collapse? Who knows? Anything is possible. It just seems to get crazier and crazier every single day. That's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next video.